Hey, Mortgage Coach community, welcome to our Friday Productivity Mastermind. Hey, Robert, you don't need to show video yet. Why don't you take it down until I introduce you?
Happily.
All right. Todd and any of the other mentors that want to pop up video and just say hi to everybody, feel free to turn those on. What's up, Todd? How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good. For some reason, I can't see anybody else, so hopefully I look good. You know, hair's all right. Wearing red for Friday, so super excited to be here and hear what Robert has to say.
All right.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Jen, what's up, Jen?
Hi. Just enjoying the day.
Right on. And then we also have Michelle Town on today's call. I don't know, Michelle, no pressure to put on the bed, but if you do want to jump up and say hi, feel free. So,
hi, everybody.
So as everybody knows, this is a weekly call, 9 o'clock Pacific, every Friday, and it's about productivity, how to save time, how to be more effective as a human being, the habits that you have, the processes that you have, the knowledge that you have. So come here and it's a conversation. We do have our Facebook group. So if you're on this call and you're not part of this Facebook group, just do a Facebook search and we'll approve you. Although it's getting pretty big. I mean, I think we have almost 500 mortgage leaders as part of this community. I do post, typically myself or Todd, we post, does anyone have a question or a suggestion? By the way, we're getting some background for someone. If you could mute your phone if you're not talking. But I did post if you have any questions or suggestions for today. And we got some great interaction. So Edgar, thank you. Amy, thank you. Mark, love it. Todd, as always. Some of this we might get to. I do want to remind Edgar, you mentioned database management. We've done a couple calls on CRM and database management. So I'd like, if you could get really specific on that, I think we could have a better conversation. Probably not today, on a different call. And Mark, I am going to schedule a call that's just all about leads and networking groups, and would really like to maybe even consider having you help facilitate that. So Mark, if you're up for that, let me know. Amy, I do think we may want to make this a call too, but we also might be able to answer this one. But before we bring Robert Stover, our guest, in, and I tee that up, let's just go around the room. Todd Bookspan, anything you want to talk about from last week, reminders, anything you want to say to set the table for today?
I would love to see some chatter down there on my video I posted last week about posting a video a day. I've got 4 videos in, and then I'm going to do a Wear Red Friday video today. So I'm living up to my commitment that I made that I was going to do a video a day. And I didn't do them all one a day. I did have to play a little catch up yesterday in full disclosure, but I'd love to see who else is putting that into action. I know Tim is not here today because he's actually recording his video, so I'm looking forward to seeing those. So anyone else who's doing it, let's join in, let's share, let's see how we can all grow in there.
So Todd, I would tell you, you inspired me. I did a lot more videos this week. In fact, one of the things I did a lot this week is where I just did a video for like one person. Like at Fairway Mortgage, a big client of ours, we hit 1,000 Fairway loan officers use Mortgage Coach, big milestone. And I created a personal video to say thank you to the person at Fairway that manages our relationship. And she sent me this super nice text back saying, I'm going to save this. Whenever I'm down, I'm going to watch it. And it's just amazing. One video, one person, and I was able to recognize them in a modern way and in a really emotional way. And then you guys all know, in preparation for today's call, I made a video that I texted to the mentors and leaders to set expectations. Yeah. So anyway, you inspired me, brother, and I did go to the next level this week. Thank you.
Nice job.
That's great.
Yeah. Hey, Jen, anything you want to cover from last week or this week?
No, no. I actually was looking for the post on the questions because I have a couple of topics I'd like to discuss in the next couple of weeks. So I'll just look for that next week, and we'll just get down to the meat of today's call.
All right, Michelle Town, any thoughts from you?
Well, I would love to share, since this is from Insane Productivity as well, is Todd's Todd's recommendation for a post this morning. It was amazing. It's about the 1% rule that we just used it for our team to talk about, how do we get to excellence since we did, shift from banking to brokering. It was a big shift, and the video yesterday about You Suck was perfect for us, and we talked a lot about yesterday how do we get to not suck anymore, and it was the 1% rule, which, Todd, thank you so much. It was perfect timing for it.
Oh, it was fun. I got harassed by Darren this morning at 4:15 because he knows that's when I wake up to let me know my video was live. And I have to say right now I'm actually in second place. I'm losing to a realtor, so I'm kind of counting on the mortgage community to actually all share the post, vote themselves, and then tag a bunch of friends to vote because I'm thinking it's just not acceptable. It's one thing if I lose the cute 6-year-old girl from yesterday because she was awesome, but I just don't feel it's appropriate for me to be losing to a realtor when we have such a strong mortgage community. But it's been a blast. I've been overwhelmed with people reaching out to me since then, friends I haven't talked to in a long time, and then people literally from all over the world who watch the video. And thankfully, I've got a really smart marketing guy who put bloopers in there, and Darren really dug it. I think that must be why they waited till the end. So I'm excited. I want to win. I won't lie. So anything you guys can do to help with a vote.
Where is it? I didn't see it, Todd.
It was Darren's video that he sent out to his 200,000 people today.
Right.
So, that is my 15 minutes of fame, and it's fading pretty quick. But on our mortgage coach productivity mastermind group, Julie did a nice job and just shared it. Or you can just look at my Facebook page. It's got all the directions. If you want to share mine, that's probably the best one to share because it's actually got all of the secret instructions on how to do it. But not that you can cheat the system or anything, but I think you can vote from your phone and from your computer. But
okay. I haven't listened to today's. Oh, I see what you did.
There I am, wearing my blue shirt, and I have my working, which is my friend,
awesome.
Right? So, I should be like this. It's pretty good today. So, but it's been pretty cool. I really, I'm appreciative for the opportunity. So, thanks, Michelle, for bringing it up. And Julie for posting it.
That's awesome.
I did a pretty good job of my hand stuff too, but you got to watch the end. The end's the best part.
All right. Awesome.
All right, guys. So there's
I have to play now. Let's get on, Robert.
All right. So by the way, it's a 6-minute and 20-second video. That is required homework for everybody on the mastermind, and then spend another 4 minutes to comment, like it, and share it. Let's play it forward. Not only to
down below is the vote right there. See
the
the vote button right there? That's the vote button. Click here to vote.
Got it.
And then Davey, I'm always at the bottom, right? You got to really, you can't mess this one up. See, there's not me. We got it way down there, Dave. All right, keep going. You can vote right now. Everyone can see how easy it is. And just pass the cute little girl. That's good because look how cute that girl is. I mean, crushed it. But thank you for my vote. I appreciate it. Look at that right there. So, in 150, that's what the realtor was at a couple of hours ago. So come on, guys, we can do it together.
This guy's working you. Bob has got 169. So hey, look, we'll remind everybody at the end of the call. All right. Well, let's transition. Robert, why don't you come on stage? Go ahead and show your video. The mentors, why don't you guys jump down? I'm going to turn off as soon as Robert takes over. So Robert Stover is an important friend to me on a personal level. We've become great personal friends, but he's an important mentor, and he's really been important to my business career. I met Robert, over 20 years ago. Robert, has it been 20 years? How many years?
93.
Crazy. And so I met him when I was building. Yeah, I met him pre-mortgage coach. I met him, when I was kind of scaling the Savage team, which became great. I met him, and he was part of creating Mortgage Coach. He helped me launch Mortgage Coach. And then I've consulted, and I know I've spent a couple $100,000 over the years in Robert as a consultant. So important mentor, important friend. And when I think of Robert's life work, he wrote a book called Strategy Matters. And I use that term all the time. I think about your book all the time, Robert, and then all the lessons that you've learned. But another part of his life work is what he calls the breakthrough formula. And I'm not going to steal thunder. I'm going to let Robert explain it. But I think in business, we spend a lot of time working on, small productivity improvements, which, by the way, is very important. Small things over time, add it up, create breakthroughs.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Yeah, he's going to talk about it. But what he's going to share, it's super powerful. So turn off your phone. This is not a time to multitask. Don't text and email. If you have two screens, have one screen. Robert Stover. And then I have one last ask. Make sure you engage. There's going to be an opportunity for you to give feedback, make comments, share stories. Make sure you do that. Make sure you share your stories and you engage on this. And hey, Robert, super gift. As far as I'm concerned, your time is worth thousands of dollars an hour. And so thank you for jumping into the mortgage coach community and bringing value.
Oh, thanks for that. And I love sharing this stuff. You're going to toss the screen my way?
Oh, yeah. I better do that.
Yeah.
All right. I am going to do that. And then I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you have the stage. And Robert, I'll leave it to you whether you want to leave your camera on or whether you just want to.
We can have the audience. Yeah, we can have the audience downvote me if it's that bad. All right. So everybody should be able to see the breakthrough model. Is that showing up there on the tech?
It is. It is.
All right. All right, let's get going. I am passionate about creating breakthroughs. I've kind of stumbled into it, but my big thing used to be big ideas, and I've just the power of them to transform a company is amazing in a short period of time. So I want to share with you today a lot of the research I've done, what I found about them, how you guys can go about more predictably creating them. I think before we get started, I think it would be fun to get from everybody, big question, what do you associate with the word breakthrough? And I'd like to hear both positive and negatives. Because I'll talk a little bit about this, but if we can have everybody just riff in the message box real quick, and then Dave, I'll have to count on you to read things for me coming through.
Okay, so guys, let's put this all not in the Facebook book, but in the GoToWebinar control panel under questions. Put it all in one place. So massive. Robert considers this massive. Clarity of purpose. Guys, keep it going. Rapid growth, hockey stick, more money. Big win, drive, the next step, overcoming obstacles. When you finally get it, a tweak in a way, wait, let me read this one, a tweak in the way you think about something that leads to huge impact in your results. Like that. Great job, Andrew. By the way, Andrew, you cheated because you've already talked to Robert. Exponential progress, excellent growth, getting through the big challenge, leverage, relief, happiness, team growth, achieving your fear, creating new habits, getting uncomfortable. Robert, I can keep going, but I think everybody. All right,
I would love to hear if there's any negatives. I'll just talk. People can type in negatives while I talk over them here. One thing I notice is I'll sit down with somebody across the table, cup of coffee, we're chatting, and what they'll do is they go, well, I'm doing this, and I want to do 20% more in the next 6 months or year. And I go, well, what would it look like if we doubled your business in a year? And you see this result. And there's two things going on. One is they think it's impossible. Two is whenever you think about going from doubling in a year, you think a lot of work and a lot more effort. I'm curious if other people kind of have that feeling. Like if I looked at you and said, let's double your loan production this year, double your gross, is there a little bit of, oh, wow, there went my life?
So I'm hearing struggling, negative disappointment when you're focusing and wasting time. Yes, I absolutely do, yes. Lack of beliefs. So just looking at the common theme, I'm seeing either people think it's more work, it would require luck, and they don't believe they could do it. That seems to be the theme in the responses, Robert.
Okay, so let's move on to the next slide here. Let's define what a breakthrough is. We're going to come back to all those negatives and positives. My rough definition right now, it will change as time goes on, is where you achieve dramatically superior results without a corresponding dramatic increase in force. And I define force as time, money, effort that you're forcing into something. And that addressed a little of the negatives everybody thinks of when they get a breakthrough. So my definition is you get the increase. It's not without any work. That's just crazy. But it's not without massive going from 8 hours a day to 12 hours a day to achieve it as it goes. So a couple years back, I started studying. I'd written a book on strategy, and then I wanted to study companies, and I was going to do a book on actually growth. I started studying as my object companies that did this, and they had a dramatic increase in sales as they went. And so some of these increases, for example, 200% increase in sales in 2 weeks. I'm sorry, 300% in 2 weeks. Another company jumped about 7 times in a year. Another guy had been running a company, 60 employees, shut it all down, started another one, 1.5 employees, and he was making $6 million a year. I'd call those breakthroughs. And clearly, the company that increased 300% didn't start working, their sales team didn't start working 300% harder suddenly. The company that had a 7 times leap didn't start working 700 times harder. In a lot of these cases, they were working less, like my, I talked about the gentleman that went to work with 1.5 employees. Oh, I forgot to add, he only works 3 hours a day. So they're working less. So what on earth, my big kind of driving thing is, what the heck was going on in here? So I started researching these, and I found, I found 2 discoveries. And the first one was a bit of a surprise. And that's where those massive leaps didn't come from. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. The other thing was, a lot of what happens with breakthrough is people talk, it kind of sounds like creativity, imagination, an accident, accidental discovery, we fell into it, and there's not a lot of stuff written about how do you systematically create a breakthrough in your business. And so what I discovered is there's absolutely a system of steps. It's not the only system out there. People do accidentally fall into things. But what I saw is I interviewed Inc. 500 CEOs, other fast growth CEOs, breakthroughs in sales, breakthroughs in marketing, is very often there was a very, I mean, it was scary how often the sequence of events happened. And we'll go into what that is. So let's, another way to look at this here, let me give you a little bit of a pop quiz. What are as many ways in the next 10 seconds you can think of to increase your productivity? You start jamming in the box there, and Dave, you can start reading off.
Okay, guys, rock it out. So we got more calls.
Oh, 5 seconds left.
More phone time. Come on, everybody, just put it in. Okay, here we go. Focus. Turn off email. Time blocking. Jam sessions. Develop system. Longer hours, more money. Have a schedule and follow up. Turn off email. Time block. Intensity. Time blocking. Time blocking. Time blocking. Prospecting. So I could go on, but the theme is the same. Create non-negotiables. Change my beliefs. Eat the frog.
All right.
By the way, win by noon. So we can keep going.
So all right, now let's
Follow
go.
the plan.
10 seconds. List every way you know to create a breakthrough in 10 seconds.
Hey, how do you create a breakthrough, everybody? 9, 8, 7, stumble onto it. 6, stop the excuses. 5, just do it. 4, 3, 2, 1, own it. Meditate. One, we didn't get very many responses, Robert, and 2, they were kind of funny, actually. I love the meditate one.
Well, you know, just think real hard and have creative thoughts. That'll do it. So isn't that fascinating? And so that's kind of what I saw. So, you know, I've been this lifelong fan of these breakthroughs, and it used to be, you know, get a lot of ideas and things like that. But after this research I did, it completely altered how I thought about that. So let's kind of summarize where we're at so far. So here's a trend I noticed in businesses and in sales professionals, that as they went along, I call it work hard, work smart. So, and a lot of the guys in here already listed the work smart stuff, right? You got priorities, you've got on working hard, show up, put in your hours, time block, work smart, you might leverage an assistant, etc. So we all start off working hard, then we start working smart. But working smart kind of hits this barrier right here. A way to look at it is a lot of times, you know, the companies they work, they increment their way up, they're working smarter, and all of a sudden they start bumping into the ceiling where harder and harder work isn't going to do it. So they need a breakthrough. But the thing is that all the skills that got them here aren't going to get them through this barrier here as they go. The other good news is that this here is critical, but it won't take you here. But I also noticed that people are stuck here also can jump up here if they get the breakthrough. And in about 50% of the people I looked at, rough number, not scientific, they were here. They weren't here, and often they just had a crisis. Let me throw it out to the group. Why on earth would having a crisis lead to a breakthrough? Let me hear people's answers to that.
Anybody have an answer to why having a crisis catalyst, sense of urgency, no pain, no gain, need to survive,
Clarity.
downturns lead to breakthroughs, clarity, crisis, priority change, out of comfort zone, it's do or die. Focus, forced to focus requires creative thinking, desperation, focus more intensity, avoiding pain. Wow, I mean a lot of stuff. Pure need.
Yeah, so we can take those and you can kind of categorize them into two theories. One is, so what they're doing quit working and they had a crisis, which means motivation, they were looking. Before that, even high producers, and this is the danger of the high producer, is they get in, I don't know what the comfort zone is in the loan industry, you're cranking $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, you're pretty happy. I would define that as success in the loan industry. You might have a different definition of success, but things are going awesome. Guess who's not going to find a breakthrough? The successful, comfortable loan officer. The two people that found them are A, the people that are just driven inherently and nothing's ever good enough, or the people got a crisis and suddenly they found motivation. Number two is what they were doing didn't work, which means they had to do something new. And that's when the breakthrough happened. So they started looking for ways to create, survive, and two, it necessitated them doing something different. So just kind of a fascinating thing that went there with that is they go through. So let's get into the model and let me run through it, the process that came out of this. So right here we have breakthrough. That's our goal that we're after. Why? Number one, a lot more money. Folks that get a breakthrough it's worth a lot more money. Number two, and we've touched on it earlier, less force. I'm defining force as time, effort, money, etc. Three is the time freedom. Results, performing at a better area like that. So to get those objectives, there's three things that have to happen. You have to convert drive, motivation, into a vision. It can be a big one, can be a small one, but that drive has to turn into a motivation. Like the coaches on here, they no doubt have talked to people and they go, what do you want to do? And then people go, well, what I don't want is blank, 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 blank. That's wonderful, but what do you want to do? Well, what I don't want is, and they can't get it, and they can't convert that pain they're in into an objective or into a vision. There's other folks, and they've got the fuzzy vision. I just talked to somebody the other day. I'll keep it vague, but it's like, well, what do you want to do? Well, I want to help people. Well, once you achieve that, what do you want to do? Well, I want to do something that helps humanity. Not a lot I can help out there with that. So the vision is so big and grandiose. I once talked to a guy, he's a financial planner. He's creating a multi-level financial planning system. And it was like, well, what's your vision? And he goes, in 2 years, I will be bigger than AT&T. Probably not, because even if you hired people that fast, you know, it would take more than 2 years. So it has to be realistic, but it also needs to stretch and to go for the breakthrough. So that's the first transformation, is going from drive to vision. The second transformation is going from insight to ideas. So the money maker here, and we're going to come back and talk about this quite a bit, is insight. This is the magic in the system as we go through. And without that, the breakthroughs most likely don't happen. The next is, as one guy once told me, I don't need ideas, I need execution, right? So you have to go from a plan or action to results as you go through. So what happens here? If we have drive but not a vision, I call it the crash test dummy. On the call we did last week, I mentioned both Dave and I know a gentleman, and oh my word, he is the entrepreneurial crash test dummy if there ever was one. There is no one with more drive and a bigger vision at any given time, but he just shoots off, man, and he ricochets around a room. You put a helmet on him, he rams into walls, he breaks things, furniture tips over, and eventually he goes flying out a window, and either he flies and he creates a multi-million-dollar business, or he hits the pavement, and it's painful to watch. But and Dave and I joke, we've all been crash test dummies. We kind of all start there. You just don't want to stay there because it hurts, right? So the next biggie here is, without results, you're broke. You can't turn any of this process into results. At the end of the day, you're broke. So I tend to be stronger on insights and ideas. That's my forte. And often I come up with awesome things and I test them, and then I just never do anything. A great example, I don't know if anybody can see in the background, it's like I'm living in a bomb shelter. We had a slab leak. We lived in a hotel for 3 months. They packed up everything we owned, and it's now sitting behind me in the office. So I'm digging through trying to clean up the office, and I find this workbook, the Sales Process Breakthrough Model. I start looking through this going like, this is awesome. Yeah, I created that in '96. And I think outside of one guy I never shared with it, it's been sitting gathering dust, and it's like a workbook that walks you through your sales process, questions to ask, how to remodel your process. I just looking at it going like, this is incredible. I didn't get the results from it. I just left it sitting there, and I'm going like, I got to revive that. So all of us have that place where we're not getting results. Then the final one here is, without insight, and this is the biggie today, is you're going to be working 10 times harder than you have to. Let me give you a way to look at this. Figures not to fit anyone here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to use this one. So here's the old way I functioned, and I think it's a lot of way functions is what a lot of the creativity books tell you to do, which is how do you get a breakthrough, how do you create innovation, or how do you create these new results, is you have your goal, and then you create ideas, lots of them, and right, they say the more ideas you create, the better, so lots. So you go into brainstorming and, oh, so how do you, increase your sales? Oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that, right? So you got the 30,000 things that you list, and then you pick a couple of the ones you think are top, and then you get into action. Do some planning, get into action. So that's the way until 5 years ago I thought it was done, and I love this. That was my strength. Just idea generation like crazy. After doing this research, what I found out is here's the sequence people went through. They had a goal, often driven by pain, insight, and we'll get into this. They got an insight. They looked for an insight. Then out of the insight came the idea, and then the action. So adding this step is like rocket fuel. Let me look at it this way. There's a good old lever. There's force, results. An insight acts like a lever. It's like I was looking around. I used to have a crowbar in here. It's gone now. Insight acts like a monster leverage in your company. For example, Dave, some of the people on the call Monday might have heard this. Dave had a company called Smart Reply. First year was a struggle. Nobody in that company could have possibly worked an extra hour. They couldn't have possibly been more productive. But it was still a struggle. Then they noticed there was one type of client out of maybe the 50 they had. One client was far, far, far more valuable to the business. Once they focused on that one valuable client, their sales shot up over the next couple of years, like 7 million, then up to, what do you hit, Dave? 14, 18 it was worth?
18 million was our trailing 12-month revenue, but some of you might know the story of Smart Reply, one of my startups in technology, but just putting a little more color around that, we spent 80% of our time selling services to mortgage, financial services, kind of industries that I knew, and we had spent about 20% of our time selling to retail, but yet Robert, when we were, I was in pain because I had, between my partner and I think we started it with $250,000, and we were about $800,000 in startup capital at that point. And, we did not plan to be there, so we were in massive pain. Stover kind of studied everything. He's like, hey, what if you spent 80% of your time selling to retailers and 20% to this other stuff? Anyways, literally, it was so rapid, and I started hiring salespeople, ex-retailers, and flash forward, we became. If you've ever gone to a sports authority, we helped the Gap build their mortgage club. We helped, 70 of the top 200 retailers in the country, Smart Reply built their mobile program. We helped Best Buy build their mobile app. But it was all that breakthrough where we decided we're going to focus on one vertical, retailers. We're going to hire people, and, I don't want to say the company wouldn't have made it, but we wouldn't have become the success we became without that breakthrough strategy, Stover. So thank you over and over and over.
Yeah, no, and that's why I've got such a passion around this. It's just like, oh my word, it's just huge, the leverage that happens. So I'm interviewing a bounce house guy. Runs the little, they go around with the truck, drop the bounce house off at birthday parties. He went from that guy in 2 years to being the largest entertainment rental company in second largest in Southern California. Why? So he's doing what everybody else is doing. He's starting to get a lot of pain because he's one of those real driven guys. And so he's just expanding, which means hiring more guys, getting a trailer to deliver everything, tires are wearing out on the trailer. It's Southern California. On any given Saturday, you're not going anywhere without getting stuck in traffic. So the guys get stuck in traffic. He's taking calls from moms, and he's just found out that he's completely ruined a child's entire life because the bounce house wasn't on time. Then in the evening, the guy's got to go around, pick up all the bounce houses that he's got going on and expanding. And then their wives are calling because the husbands are stuck in traffic on the way home going, why are you working my husband so hard? The guy's in misery because he's successful. Kind of weird, huh? So he's getting more and more successful, and all he did was increase his pain, and then his phone rings. And he picks up his phone, and it's a church. And they go, hey, we need 8 bounce houses. He's like, okay, I can do that. Delivers them. Took 1 truck, 1 guy, 8 bounce houses. He made 8 times the revenue as that. That night he's going like, holy moly. He stops all of his marketing, stops everything he's doing, and he starts calling churches, synagogues, and public institutions. Or like, what do you call them? Service clubs. And his business just rockets. And then they're going like, hey, do you have like chairs and some tents that you can put up for the adults? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. And then they're going like, hey, you know those games, like the gambling games, the casinos and stuff, can you do those? Yeah, he goes, I can do those. And then he goes, wow, look at these people are making $100,000 when I set up these events and stuff. What if I partner with them? So then he starts going, hey, you know, you have a huge event, lots of people. I'll put the games up, the gambling, the other games that they're playing and stuff, that they pay $1 to play and stuff, and I'll split the revenue with. He went from renting a bounce house for $300 to $80,000 an event. Of 1 phone call, 1 thing, shifting his focus. It's just amazing.
Hey, Robert.
Yeah.
Robert, I want to jump in here because I also want to start connecting the dots. I think you briefed enough that everybody knows what a breakthrough is. I do want to connect the dots to the mortgage industry. So if you've ever had a breakthrough, you know, or if you're working on a breakthrough and you want to share it, raise your hand. So Todd, help me keep an eye out for anybody that raised their hand. Also, you know, we did this last Tuesday. Robert was on the call. And, you know, Josh Metal, who a lot of people in our community know who Josh was. And when Josh decided to focus on, you know, medical professionals, you know, he achieved a breakthrough in his production, his culture, his success. You know, we had I can't remember who it was, but it was someone who's part of this group regularly, had mentioned that they had a certain type of referral partner that was taking up 80% of their time, you know, delivering, let's just say, X result. And they decided to, you know, change the type of referral partner, and literally they had a 3X, you know, it was a third of the time and double the result. So again, if you're a mortgage professional and you can think of a breakthrough that you've had, or even someone you know's had. So I don't see any hands raised. Hey, Todd, I'm going to bring you in, and I want to do a round with the mentors right now. Can you think of any other breakthrough stories in the mortgage space? Todd?
You know, I think it's anyone that you can think of who's like Josh, who took time to really focus. You know, I mean, certainly an old example of it would have been Stephen Marshall when he focused on financial advisors. You know, I got to imagine with people like Dan Keller, right, when he started doing his realtor presentations. I think that there's just, you know, that specialization, I think, is sort of the easy one to focus on. I've seen on the real estate side where, you know, I had friends who were, you know, just average realtors, if you want to even call them that, who decided to focus on REO and it blew that up. Or then when it shifted to short sale, they were really fast with that shift, and then they blew up that market. And so I think it's any time that someone decides to do something different, and I love. I've been trying to stay off of anything else since you told us we weren't allowed, but I was going to post, you know, I love the insight is the moneymaker and acts like a lever quote that Robert said. That one is just huge to me.
Yeah, that's a great quote.
Dave, would it be helpful if we could talk in generics about you got to have insight, but they still have nothing that they can grab onto? Like, how can I do it? I can share a really quick model that anybody can use. It's like there's dozens of ways, but right off the bat, let me get this rocking here. All right.
While you're doing that, you know what I think of is Michael Mayer when he did a breakthrough just doing client appreciation parties. That's it. That's all he does.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a good one, Jen. That's a good one. And then, by the way, two breakthroughs that I see all the time, and not to selfishly plug Mortgage Coach, but implementing and improving, like if you depending on what your conversion rate is, implementing, and upgrading your sales process doesn't take more time, but it could literally, be a career change. It could improve your revenue by 50%. I've seen it so many times where loan officers can improve their conversion. And then one more breakthrough, and I'll hand it back to you, Robert, and any other mentors that want to speak up. We recently identified that almost, the majority of the loan officers on this call, when you look at the number of past customer loans that you're doing, it's 50% of what it should be. I mean, you could double your past customer loans and referrals. Not more time, just being more intentional and implementing what you need to do. So those are a couple. And then again, any mentors that want to speak up, and anybody on the call that wants to raise your hand, or feel free to put something in chat. Robert?
So a real simple acronym is ITAP, ITAP, and think of a triangle. And everybody has this in their business, they just don't know it. I is identity. That's what they see themselves as doing. For example, in the early days of Mortgage Coach, the first year, 2 years, it was like, well, it's this cool software program, and it compares loans. Later, we realized it's a referral machine. So we changed the identity of what it was. And that just rocked it there in the mid 2000s by changing the identity.
Hey, Stover, before you go off that, because it just reminded me of all the amazing things you've done for Mortgage Coach. So if anybody has ever read The Art of Referral, which was a breakthrough I had in the mortgage business when I, one, focused on CPAs and financial planners, and two, created Mortgage Coach, it was a massive breakthrough. And Stover and I wrote that book together. It was my ideas, it was his writing. And then remember, Stover, the white paper you wrote called Mental Triggers?
I do. I just skipped it to somebody the other day that asked for it.
By the way, anybody on this call that has not read Mental Triggers, Stover wrote this. I mean, this was one of, when I launched Mortgage Coach, I don't know how Mortgage Coach would have become Mortgage Coach without some of that strategic thinking you provided, some of the white papers you wrote. But I mean, this is a white paper that's been read tens of thousands of times. It's the most downloaded content we've ever created. Marcy, if you're on this, if you could put the Mental Triggers PDF in the GoToMeeting handouts. I forgot, Stover, that was such brilliant thinking, and it's a breakthrough for every loan officer. Mental Triggers and auto referrals were huge breakthroughs that you created at Mortgage Coach. Anyways, keep it ripping.
All right. So real quick, so ITAP, identity, change what you think you're offering to people can actually alter the whole thing. But basically, everybody has a tap. They're targeting somebody, and oftentimes it's consumers direct, oftentimes it's a referral source, et cetera. Everybody's got an approach. That's how they approach it. And I want to zero on that in some of the time left, because, I mean, that's just magic in there. And then everybody's got a proposition they're making. The product, kind of the big thing of what they're offering them. But real quick, let's talk about Target as a thinking tool for people. So we already talked about somebody just targeted doctors. I know of lenders that target divorce attorneys. Mm-hmm. And that's what they do. I know realtors that only target divorce attorneys. All of their referrals come from divorce attorneys, and they stand alone because nobody's out there doing it. It's a wide open. Dave, and the Art of Referrals gives a master class in approaching CPAs or financial planners. I'm going to brag on you, Dave. You're earning $905,000 a year in referral commissions from financial planners, and he wrote out everything, including the letters and how he approached them and everything else in the Art of Referrals book. That's a breakthrough on a platter for people if they want it. Like realtors,
yeah, and by the way, the first 1,000 Mortgage Coach subscribers when I launched Mortgage Coach all came from either Mental Triggers or Art of Referral. Was just, telling a story, laying out a breakthrough strategy, and Mortgage Coach, the total cost analysis, was you know, an essential tool, essential platform to those breakthroughs. I mean, there's 1,000 mortgage coach members came from that.
So let's get real tactical here. I was just on a call, one of the guys that jumped on and we chatted, and it reminded me of the call we had done, what was it, 6 months ago on how to stand apart in 30 seconds. And in there we showed the strategy. So the insight is on all these targets, referral sources, doctors, lawyers, financial planners, realtors, etc. All of them have, say, a database of 2, 3, 4, 500, 1,000 people that they're sitting on. Most of them nurture, but very few reach in and actively pull out the active deal. So, for example, a realtor, they're sitting on a database and they're sending out recipes, or they're sending out, here's what the market is, and here's that. Or if you're in my Facebook stream, all you're seeing is, here's my new listing, here's my new sell, here's my new listing, here's my new sell, and that's all I see. So they've warmed the whole audience up, but they aren't actively going in and pulling those referrals out. So we took mortgage, and we go, well, how can I do it? I go, so I told this guy the other day, I go, look, you can approach a realtor, so let's talk approach. He wants to target realtors, everybody's targeting realtors. If I go up to a realtor and they're like, you know, knock, 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 hi, will you give me all your loans, Mr. Top Realtor, even though you already have existing relationships? That is not a successful approach. I'm going to be knocking my head a lot on that door. But if I go, knock, 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 Mr. Realtor, hey, Mr. Realtor, right now, you've probably got $10,000 to $30,000 in commissions sitting in your database. I've got this tool that we can send out to your database, invite them to go through it, and anybody that's even slightly thinking of buying or selling a home right now is going to bite on that, and we can harvest those deals for you. I just have to be able to do the loans, and we'll probably get 10 to 30,000 in the next 60 days. Okay, that's an approach shift, and a lot of the breakthroughs I studied did exactly that. They kept the existing target, but they changed how they are approaching them with a different proposition. And so if anybody wants to go back and listen to that, that's another breakthrough on a platter for you. It's in the How to Stand Apart in 30 Seconds. And I think we get a lot more in depth on how to actually do the report. You can do joint videos. You can go, hey, Mr. Realtor, let's get on video together, do a video, send it out to your people where we're doing a total cost, or we'll look at a deal, and then we'll take that analysis and we'll go through it together. So we're building your reputation and as an authority, but also pulling the people that are ready to do deals right out of your database right now. If you have existing relationships, you can do that, but it makes a great way to approach new relationships as well.
Great.
So, Michelle Town, you haven't had a chance. Any questions for Robert or any thoughts on breakthrough strategies?
So I'm like writing everything down and agree pretty much with everything he says. And I don't like to get into pain sometimes, but that's what it takes sometimes to push me through to the other side. It's a lot of great information, and I'm a little overwhelmed right now.
Yeah,
by the way, Robert, before you jump
off, a motivational speaker, but I often use this image. That's everybody's future if they don't go for it. So there's my motivation talk.
All right. So
love it.
So I do want to shine a light on another breakthrough strategy because I've interviewed Michelle a number of times. Also, Wally Elderberry, they have a similar breakthrough strategy in the way that they have built systems and process and team around consumer direct leads that not only are an incremental source of business and loans, but they're using those as leverage to help realtors convert leads. So they can meet with a realtor and say, hey, referring someone to me radically improves your conversion because of my system and my process. Plus, I've got a team that works, is great at converting leads into clients for life. So they've taken and created a value prop that's incredibly compelling to an agent. It delivers them a competitive advantage and an incremental loan source. So Michelle, when you created that platform and you invested around it, that was a breakthrough strategy. Now, Robert, I hand it back to you in 1 minute. I just want to connect another dot. When you think of insane productivity, you think of personal productivity. It's like, it's not breakthrough thinking, but at the end of the day, you're not going to create a breakthrough if you don't do jam sessions.
Right.
If you are not really personally effective and know how to delegate, manage teams, and be personally productive. Even if you have a breakthrough idea, you're not going to execute the breakthrough idea. So working smart is essential to the breakthrough, but I hope everybody's starting to connect the dots of why I dedicated a whole hour to this. Is, you know, the ultimate modern mortgage professional, advisor, coach, leverages technology, incredibly, insanely productive, a la Darren Hardy, insane productivity, but also is always looking for breakthroughs, a la Robert Stover. So, you know, I'm trying to create a community of the nation's best mortgage professionals that are smart, they create breakthroughs, they deliver the total cost analysis to families, because, by the way, a total cost analysis for a family can create a breakthrough for the family. You know, they now realize that, oh, if I paid an extra $100 to $200 a month on my mortgage, I could be debt-free 10 years earlier. By the way, that is a breakthrough for a family. So start thinking about this, mortgage coach community. You are not only getting the wisdom on these masterminds to create personal breakthroughs, to be more productive, but if you really serve a family the way we teach you to, using our technology, every single family that gets a total cost analysis, you're not just giving them mortgage options, you're not just showing them the cost over time, you're showing them how to create a personal breakthrough through intelligent mortgage management. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, I really want to emphasize this isn't an anti-productivity. For example, if Todd or Jen or Michelle have been working with me and I created this breakthrough model workshop and stuff, they wouldn't let me sit on it for 10 years. So we all have our strengths and weaknesses, right? And so on the motivation, on vision, I can challenge people pretty good. Pretty darn strong on the ideas and insight. On the execution, for example, I've done some of these, I've talked with folks, and it's like, you know what? You need to talk with a Bill Hart or a Todd or whatever, because that's what you need right now. You've got all this opportunity that you're not capitalizing on it because you're, well, like me, you're a mess. You got to capitalize on it, and you need some accountability and someone that's going to keep you on track. If your hair's on fire and you're running around, you don't even have time really to find the breakthroughs, right? And also, once the breakthrough's found and it comes through, well, now you got to optimize it. There's productivity. So you absolutely need both. You can't come up with a breakthrough and run it out.
Hey, Robert, so a couple things, because we're in the last 10 minutes, and I think you've delivered, you know, monster value. You've helped everybody. They're coming away from this call. They understand what a breakthrough is. They understand some of the ideas on how to find one and implement one. You know, for anybody that wants to listen to a couple of our past interviews with Robert, if you're watching the video of this, I'm going to put them in links below. I also put a link to our call. What was it called again? It was like how to stand apart from your competition in 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I put a link to that.
Tactical and immediately implementable.
Yeah, so that's, if you're watching the video, it's down below, and I put it in GoToWebinar. Also, we put art of referral and mental triggers in handout section of GoToMeeting. Also, that will be in a link below if you're watching the video. Stover, again, you've been so generous, one, committing time to come here and lead, but you've also offered to have 10-minute conversations with people. If you wouldn't mind, one, you know, telling folks how they could sign up for your 10-minute meeting with you, and two, you know, what would be the value of having 10 minutes with Stover?
Yeah, I mean, if they want to come out and spend 10 minutes, what I do during their 10 minutes is ask you a lot of questions. And it was funny. I had somebody on the line the other day, and anyway, ask a lot of questions and find out if I can even help you or not. Or, for example, if I need to refer you out to if what you really need is to capture what you've got and focus on the productivity and things like that. And if I can help you, I usually set up like a 60-minute deep dive where we can take the time and go over what your vision is and where you're at now, what the obstacles are, and what you need to create a breakthrough and things like that. So, and that's what we do. So it's robertstover.com, just /time, and you can set up. It links out to Calendarly, and you can pick a time that works for you, and then we jump on the call and chat and see if I can help you or not.
Love it. So, one, I will promise anybody 10 minutes with Stover is like a gift. The questions he asked will make you better. And then I know he gives good advice. In fact, I already saw a post, Andrew Adams from our community, great mortgage coach, did 10 minutes with you, and he put a testimonial down below. Well, actually, it's in our page. Hey, if I could get the mentors that want to jump back on camera, let's do 4 minutes of debrief. And Todd Bookspan, Coach Todd, what are some
Here I am.
How do we make this actionable from your perspective?
I think you make it actionable by spending the time to think about it, because Robert just said if you're running around with your hair on fire, that you're never going to have the breakthrough, right? And I think you just need to look at the examples that were talked about here. It's just kind of funny because you mentioned mortgage coach as a breakthrough. I've told the story here before. I got it on my first day in the business, and in hindsight, obviously I had a breakthrough pretty early on because I went after financial planners right out of the get-go, and it was huge for me, and that was a big part of my success. When I mentioned the realtor piece, I went after REO agents when the market turned, and that was a breakthrough. And so it's funny, as I'm thinking here, realizing that I've had breakthroughs. I'm just not smart enough to notice I had them, or maybe a little slow, I guess. But I think in the end, it's you guys have to get off this call and you have to just sit back, relax, and that was Robert's first question, right? Is how do you create that space? And you guys were saying shut your door and turn off your phone and do jam sessions, and you guys already said it, so I don't think I need to tell you what to do. That was all what we ran through on the questions right from the start. So just spend some time and let's make it happen.
Jen, anything you have from a debrief perspective, anything to make today's call actionable?
Yeah, I mean, just like what Todd said is that, I think I've had some breakthroughs. I'm a divorce lending specialist. I'm a mortgage coach. I'm a certified mortgage planning specialist. I have all these specialties and this credibility behind it. I think what I'm most interested in, and I've already booked my 10-minute call with Robert, is, sorry, I was task was switching a little bit, but I think for me, I think those are, I didn't know they were breakthroughs either in their specialties, and I'm really excited about them, but I think I'm missing a component in being able to shine a light on them to make them go to that breakthrough graph that he showed is like, oh, the income's there, the volume's there, but how do I get it to just break through, a glass ceiling? And so that's what I'm most interested in. So I think this has been absolutely fantastic. And like Michelle, I'm a little overwhelmed right now, which I can usually take in data pretty quickly. I'm a little overwhelmed. So this is going to require a little time on my part to ponder before our call. But thank you, Robert.
Loved it. Yeah, Robert, you were great. And Michelle, any thoughts from you as I put the wrapper on today's call? Anything you want to share with everybody?
I am going to go back to the 1% rule because of my overwhelmedness right now. It'll be so much easier for me because now, you should see my whiteboard, and I'm like, okay, I can't possibly do all of that in one day, so start with 1%. But thank you so much for a million ideas.
Yeah.
So I've got an ask for everybody. I did a post a couple days ago, one, defining a breakthrough, and two, please share your breakthrough stories and strategies. So if I could get an ask, Todd, you mentioned one or two. If you wouldn't mind putting those in comments there. We've already got 8 comments. So if you're on this call or you're listening to this recording, I would imagine, at least for the next couple of days, this post will probably, once the first comment gets in there, it'll go up. But, share a breakthrough that you had or a breakthrough that you're working on. Next week, I'd love to shine a light on a few more. And really my goal is I've delivered it. You're aware of the breakthrough formula, the strategy. My hope is that there'll be more intention. Next week, we'll get back to insane productivity with Mortgage Coach. But this week, I wanted to kind of take a segue and say, hey, there is another level of thinking that's not more important than insane productivity with Mortgage Coach. It's just another discipline that everybody, I think, needs to put some thought into. So with that said, connect with Robert. I just pushed the question. Let us know what you thought of today's call. Was it awesome? You got tons of value. We knocked it out of the park. Was it good? Got a few takeaways. Just okay. Let us know what you thought of today's call. By the way, Robert, I think this might be one of the highest rated calls of all time.
Wow.
You know, yeah, it's really well received by our audience. Best way to say thank you is invest some time with Robert. And I do have one more ask, because I talked to Robert after last week's call. You know, there were people that signed up for 10 minutes with him, and there were a few people that no-showed him. And please don't do that. Robert, I mean, seriously, this is a super big gift. He's a highly compensated consultant. He typically works with entrepreneurs, and it was really almost a favor to me to say, hey, Robert, will you bring this to the mortgage coach community, to loan officers? Because I think there's a lot of loan officers that would invest in Breakthrough, they would invest in you. So, you know, please do not no-show Robert if you sign up for one of his 10 minutes, not only for yourself, but out of respect for me and Mortgage Coach.
If they do, I'll just share the Breakthrough with their competitors. So, you know.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Hey, anyways, hey guys, thanks for giving us an hour sober. Thanks for the time. And
That was fun.
Jen, Michelle, and Todd, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I like that.
Thank
Have an awesome
you.
weekend, everybody.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.